Hey everybody, this is Try Dying to Live here, and you may notice that there is a couple of ships on my screen right now. That's right, version .14 experimentals 1 and 2 have already come down the pipeline, and we get a chance to play slightly buggy, mostly playable. And by mostly I mean like 98%. There's a couple problems here and there, but other than that it's great. You can see I've got two ships here. I've got one that I forgot to name and one that I named Revenge. Don't know why I named it Revenge. It might be a Star Wars thing. I don't know. Anyways, let me show you some of the things. First of all, of course, two ships. You can see some of our debris around here. As long as it's within 20 kilometers, you'll have a little marker here that'll show you where it's at. You can sometimes pick it out and be able to figure out what it is. If it's within a few hundred meters, it won't show it though, and so in the case of this here, which is our actual craft, it won't show you. I'll zoom out and show you. Shows all the debris, shows the orbits of everything. You can see that there's two icons for this. They're just overlapped over each other, and then there's a bunch of junk, and you can go visit the junk if you want. So here's a radial decoupler just floating in space in orbit, and then here's our other crafts. When we go back, one thing you can do if you want to get rid of some of your debris is click End Flight. You can end it, and then that piece will be destroyed forever and gone away. We'll go to the Space Center, and you can see that we now have a tracking center, so we can see our crafts. There is a bit of debris here, also a ship called Attack, which may also be a Star Wars reference, and it's actually going to hit the atmosphere and run through the atmosphere and slow down. I think its apoapsis is low enough. We can actually go look. And you can also notice that we weren't able to see, yeah, it's coming, I think it's coming down. Let's see here. Paraapsis is low enough. Yeah, it'll start breaking over time. You can't actually see the other ships, and they are, let's see here, they're somewhere over here. But anyways, so there is a that'll hopefully finish out. I think they'll maybe land. I'm not actually sure what will happen. Probably is not the best thing. And so all the little bits are good. And so right now, I'm actually going to just kind of run through a few things. I want to see if on this untitled spacecraft, if you noticed before on the other ships, they had other names, but this is the first ship I took up, and it's got the original Bill, Jeb, and Bob, and none of the other ones did. And so I'm wondering that if I, take it back down, and I launch another rocket, if they'll be there. Also, let's see, where's this thing here? If you notice, this one is not spinning and that one's spinning. One of the big bugs in the experimental version number 2 is that the SAS data gets transferred to all the other ships. And so whenever you turn on and off the SAS, it'll change it. So for example, let me actually just switch ships here to, I don't know if I can do that right. Let's see here, which ship is this one? This one is, I think this is Revenge. I'm not sure. They're all identical. I've just been using the same ship. Yeah, that's Revenge. And so you can see here that our SAS is off. None of the ships are turning, but if I turn the SAS on, which will lock our ship, is it going to make you spin? Of course, now that the video is running, it's not going to make it spin out, but usually it would. Let's actually do this. Let's move it and then turn the SAS on. Here we go. So the corrections for this ship are being translated onto this one. You can see it kind of caused a little problem there. Not a huge deal, just because you can't dock right now, so there's no docking parts, so it's not a big deal. But when you're kind of adjusting things, you're trying to like touch nose to nose or something cool like that, it makes it a little difficult. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and in-flight. Oh, I don't want to in-flight. I actually want to go to the Space Center and knock this ship out of orbit. And it's got some RCS units, so let's see here. We're going to spin this thing around. And that should make that ship up there start spinning. Where are you at? There it is. So now that's just spinning, but that's okay. Turn our RCS on, and then we're going to... Oh, we need a forward burn. Okay, here we go. Burn this off. I've been using 2 tanks, and also you notice at 175 kilometers. The reason why I'm there is because above 150 kilometers, you're able to go at 50 times speed. So it makes it takes less time in real life to connect up. Just makes it a little easier. We'll go ahead and do that. I'll go ahead and just knock ourselves down while we're at it. Just push ourselves lower. This still works great. You can see all of our debris, and this debris will stay in here. One of the things that you can do is set how much debris you leave up in space. You can say, okay, 250 pieces or 10 pieces, or I don't know actually what the lowest part is. And you can also do a limited. So I've actually set it at unlimited because I kind of want to fill up my space, and I want to see if I can actually get so much junk in there that I can accidentally run up and bump into something and hopefully destroy my ship one day, which would be pretty cool. Alright. Do we have enough to break ourselves out? Yeah, it doesn't take terrible much. Alright. So we'll go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and land this, and I'll be right back as soon as we've landed. Alright, we're about to land. Here's our untitled ship with our 3 heroes in it. One thing I did notice in this game just now is that our attack ship, the ship named Attack, actually goes below, its para-apsis is below 40 kilometers, which should slow it down quite a bit, but its apoapsis hasn't slowed down or lowered at all. And so I think that while we're on rails, atmosphere doesn't affect ships right now. So we'll see. And also, I also thought to myself, you know what I could have possibly done? I have to check this in the future. I'm assuming that we get Bill, Jeb, and Bob again. Are we sinking? That's strange. There's another little weird thing. It might be related to the SAS. Let me turn the SAS off. Nope, not at all. It was a little tiny, non-important bug. But anyways, of course we still have to end flight, but if we end flight, if Bob, Jeb, and Bill will come back. So we'll end the flight. We'll go to our vehicle assembly building, do a new ship. This is the ship that I've been using, and I'm just going to try this out. See if we get Bill, Jeb, and Bob back. We do! Alright, so it seems that you always get a Bill, Jeb, and Bob in space, or you can always have a Bill, Jeb, and Bob as long as they're not already being used. So that's kind of a cool thing. So like, obviously you may not want them in like some sort of a permanent orbit if you want to keep using them, over and over again. But if you want, you can always use them. That's pretty cool. Alright, one of the things I'm going to do right now, actually, in flight, and we're going to try restart flight, because this one's giving me quite a few bugs using the restart flight button. Let's see how we do. Let's try taking off. Yeah, it destroys the ship. Restart flight doesn't currently work in this version. So you actually have to go back to the VAB and launch it again. And so, but what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you how to build this rocket here, because I really kind of dig it. I think it's it's nice and fast, powerful, but anyways, we're going to start off, and we're going to use this right here. Oh, by the way, if you haven't noticed, there's lander legs right now there. There's sort of this animated thing. They're a little short. You can't actually, let me show you. Grab this, and we'll just do something example here. The way they work is they actually, let's actually clear the launch pad. Proceed. There's already debris on the launch pad. But the way they work is, you gonna work? Yeah, they move down like that. And then so you get, kind of up and then down, and you can put them all around. However, you can notice here it's not actually touching the ground, and that's because they're not long enough. They were planning on putting a shorter engine in this release, but they didn't get to it yet. But what you can do is to simply put a decoupler and then the lander, come on now, and then the lander leg as low as possible, and that will work fine. And it's kind of nice too, because then you get to get rid of your lander leg when you're done with it. But it's a nice little feature. Alright, but we're going to build our that rocket I just showed you. And so we're going to start off pretty normal. We're going to use actually two SASs, and I'm going to use the normal SAS, and the reason why we're going to use the normal SAS in this case is so that the advanced SAS will fire your RCS units, and when you fire your RCS units to stabilize yourself all the time, it wears out your fuel sooner than you really need to. I'm going to set this to 6. I like lots of power, more power. Having some trouble setting these in this version, which is oh wait, that's 8. It's really hard on 8. Sometimes you can set them, sometimes you can't, but you can usually set them on 6. Like you can't set them in between things. You can set them on something, but not necessarily in between something. Do this here. Sometimes I like to use a single RCS unit, but I've been starting to use the nav ball to orientate myself a little better when I'm using these. Just because the nav ball is kind of locked to the camera a little, or I should say the camera is locked to the nav ball a little bit, and so if I orientate myself using the nav ball, then I don't need this extra one to tell me where I'm at. Anyways, so we're going to do this. Alright, so this is this is the thing that you saw up there. The reason why you wouldn't want to use the extra RCS unit, by the way, is because if you use the extra RCS unit, it'll kind of tilt you and twist you in funny ways. You get that extra little thrust in a spot, and so it can kind of twist you a bit. And so I'm trying not to use it. The other ones that you just saw up in outer space, close to each other, those are I'll have this one here, but I'm trying not to use it. Just because it, like I said, it skews it everywhere. And then we're going to go ahead, let's find it. Yeah, we're going to use an advanced SAS because it gives us the extra stability and control over the larger rocket we're about to build. And so our actual thruster rocket is 1, 2, 3 of these, and then we'll put a liquid fuel engine. And one of the rockets I have been building uses 6 external tanks like this all the way around. And you can, in fact, I actually need to put this below the advanced SAS. You can actually do 8 if you're lucky. Oop, come on now. It kind of glitches on there, and so sometimes you can do it, but it's a pain to get that sack all the way down there. Let me get a new one of these because the game's kind of glitching a little bit with the order over here. There we go. But instead of just using 1, if you use 2, push yourself out just a little bit farther, then you can add 8. Nice and easy. And so that gives you plenty of thrust to get really quick off the line, which helps out a ton. I'm using not the fully powerful one, but the vectoring ones, which are a little less powerful. It's more than enough. Grab a strut, lock these down. If you have trouble with rockets being unstable, this version seems to be a bit more stable. There's a twisting action that I saw a lot of times. This one doesn't do it as badly. There's still some problems. Always use lots of struts. And then I go ahead and I use, I know, I badmouthed them, but I'm using them, alright? Just because I like to have all the rockets firing and then I can throw things off. And it's more about kind of a little faster, I guess. I guess it's faster, but anyways. And then you just need to change your firing order. Drag this one down here, and if you want, you can actually put these all together so they all eject at the same time. And let's see here, that looks about right. And so that's a really good maneuverable orbiter. I'm mostly sure that you could probably get this one into a geosynchronous orbit. You might have to add an extra set of tanks below, but other than that, I think it's a pretty good rocket. And I like the fact of using 8 because, you know, more power. Who doesn't like it? Anyways, I'm going to pause here for a second, and then we're going to go ahead and try and do a bit of a tutorial on how to catch up and kind of make a you know, a meet-up maneuver with our rocket that's already up in space. So I'm going to pause it here and get ready, and I'll be right back. Alright, we're back. I named this one Hope. It's a new ship, so it's kind of a new hope here. Keeping with our theme so far. Anyway, so we'll get our rocket going. Throttle up, turn the SAS on, and blast off. So far the ship, or the game seems maybe a touch bit slower. It's still plenty fine, you know, especially for being in such heavy development. You know, what's one of the last things you really want to do is to optimize your game. You don't want to go optimizing and then making everything more difficult to edit and change later on, because a lot of times those speed ups make things worse. One thing I will note in this current version that's sort of a problem, you can use the I guess they're the square bracket. They've got the two brackets kind of near the backspace key. You can use that to shift between your rockets that you have in space. However, it's pretty useless right now because it also goes between all your debris. So you're like debris, 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 debris. Oh, there's the, nope, that's not the ship I wanted. Debris, 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 debris. So that's kind of an issue. And if you have debris, like you can shift your focus from your current ship to some debris, and if that debris is in the atmosphere, you can't shift your focus away from it. So you're just like, okay, I can't control my ship, and you actually have to tell the game to end the flight on that piece of debris and then go back in through the tracking center to get the ship that you're trying not to crash into the ground horribly. But anyways, you notice we have the RCS off because we're using the RCS for translating maneuvers. In my experience, the RCS is great for translating maneuvers, meaning moving from side to side, forward and backward, little tiny movements. But if you're trying to take a really, really unstable ship and make it work and sit upright, it doesn't work that great. They just don't. They don't have the power to take a really crazy ship and push it around. They're really great for tiny little maneuvers. A lot of people ask me quite often, you know, if I've got this ship that's having, you know, that's kind of unstable. Yeah, the only exception to it is if you have a ship that's spinning. When we get to 30,000 meters, I spin it over. We're going to head towards 270, just because if we could head toward 270, we can head towards any direction to be able to orbit. That's why I chose that direction. But anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, if you have a problem with your ship spinning, rotating, I should say, then RCS units can sometimes help then to mitigate that. There's just been kind of a weird bug in the game. A lot of times people will visit my videos and they don't realize how long ago in the development of the game that came out and how much has changed. And so some of the things that I produce aren't always true, and I try to especially with the Moonlander video. We'll get rid of that. Go away. There we go. Goodbye, debris. I like that. It looks cool. Later on, if you look at it, it'll kind of busts up and bumps into each other, and it's kind of neat too. But anyways, and so some of the things have changed. Like the Moonlander, it likes to spin out of control. You really have to be on top of it to control it. The early videos where I used to stack a lot of solid boosters to get my rockets going around the outside. Kind of like I think I had a video of my go-to rocket where I put 3 rockets around the outside on each side, and those get overheated now and they explode, so you can only really put 1 on the outside, and maybe some underneath as well. So a lot of those things kind of, as they've changed, have kind of become more difficult. Anyways, what we're going to do is, I've got this up to 127. I'm actually going to go ahead and bring this all the way up to, our apoapsis up to just under 150, just because it's going to get pushed out again. That 150 is just going to let us zoom faster. There we go. That's good. Alright. And you can see here's our ship that we're going for, which is the Revenge. And what we need to do is we need to figure out the best way to And look, attack is still going on. The attack is still oh well. Anyways, bunch of clones anyway. So anyway, the ships are going in different speeds, and so we need to kind of sync our speed up. And so we're gonna stay closer and to go faster, because you can see the ship is ahead of us, and so we're gonna try to catch up to it. And you got to think of it like kind of like a race car track. Like the inside track is the faster track. Like you turn faster, and you also, in orbiting, you have to go faster in lower orbits to keep from falling and crashing to the ground. So in this case, in order to catch up, you have to remember you be on the inside. If you save the rocket that we're trying to catch up to is back here, we might actually drift out beyond it, and we'll go slower around the outside of it and let it float in. But in this case, it's quite a bit ahead, so we really need to, I didn't time this out very well. So one thing you can do is just kind of fast forward time, wait for it to come out here, and then swing around. But we'll zip this ahead a little bit, and as we get around here, we'll start boosting ahead. Being that this is a one-engine stack, you do have to remember to keep aware that the rocket won't have as much power as you'd like it to, at like a 3-stack or a 6-stack or like an 8-stack or 9-stack like we started with. And so if you're what I'm getting at is when you come up to the apoapsis, you want to make sure that you give yourself plenty of time to speed up, so you're not having to go, get 500 meters of delta V and you're already past the apoapsis by the time you start getting that, and you're kind of trying to make your orbit work. And so in this case, we're going to have about 400 meters per second of delta V, and so we'll slow this down, fix this up. We're going to try to keep our orbit around 150 meters per second, or 150 kilometers, I should say. Oop, not what I actually meant to do. I meant to do this one here. Alright, we'll watch our paraapsis. Oop, we don't have a paraapsis yet. Okay, eventually we'll have a paraapsis. There we go. Watch our paraapsis, and we'll get that up to about 150 as well, making sure that we don't get our apoapsis too high. So that's at 90. We'll slide forward to our apoapsis. Whoa, 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 whoa. There we go. Remember, it's always easiest to control your orbit by burning at the apoapsis and the paraapsis and moving those. It makes it so much simpler. Save yourself a lot of trial and error and headache. So wait till that gets about 150. Boom. It's 150. That's 154. That's good. That lets us go up all up to 50. And you can see the debris that we're, kind of the debris field, as well as the craft that we're at. And so we're quite a bit behind it. Now, if you really want to do the math, there is a math equation. I saw it on the forums, and if I can remember it off the top of my head, it's you have to be let's see, it's like outside by 150, or you have to have an orbit 159% of the orbit of the object that you're trying to catch, and then you do a transfer burn at a quarter of the way away from it, something like that. It's you can look it up. It's kind of confusing. I didn't do very good paying attention to it. But here, like you can see here, we're taking the inside track. Now I've tried to use as many as elliptical of an orbit as possible. So let me stop this here so we can find this. Oops, go back slower. Slow that down. So Revenge is running at 2,135 meters per second, and we're running at 2,170. So we're catching up slowly. It's going to take some time. If we had timed this a little better, we probably would have done better. We could also come in way farther in, and that would help us out too. We just can't warp as fast, and so this is what we're going to do for the time being. I don't know if this is the best option. As you can see, pause for a second here. Also note that attack is continuing to not slow down while in the atmosphere. So there it is. That is definitely a bug, because this actually should either crash instantly as soon as it hits the atmosphere, or what I've done with it actually is I said open your parachute. So like it could like do a figuring and say, okay, as a parachute it's open, it's light enough, it will land safely, and automatically just, okay, hit the atmosphere, land safely. But it clearly is not doing that. And I think I've even seen a picture where somebody landed their ship inside, or actually was orbiting inside the planet. And they had themselves crashing down to the atmosphere, and then they were, I think it was actually the moon when they did that. But anyways. Hey, while we're at it, I do want to mention that I do in fact know that the moon is spelled M-U-N, and I've got quite a few comments on that. And normally I correct them, and I'm like, okay, it's cool. Moon is okay. It's alright to type it M-O-O-N. Everybody knows what you're talking about. It's alright. No big deal. But it also, if you want to correct me, it's actually M-U-N, but the U has two little dots over the top so that you pronounce it moon and not mun, which I used to pronounce it mun, but it's actually pronounced moon, as I've been told, I should say. But anyways, so if you want to correct me for saying moon, please put two little dots over your U before you start calling me names for, writing the word excessively. Anyways, I'm going to let this run a little bit, and we're going to see how long this actually does take to catch up. I might actually need to have a different tactic on this. Alright, we are back. It's only been like a minute and a half at that. So anyways, we're actually coming right up on this. We're about to get really close to this. And so what I'm going to start doing here is, as I get closer, actually probably as I get close to this debris field right here, I'll actually start changing my orbit, and I'll get it closer and closer and closer, still a tiny bit inside, and then once we start getting it super close so that we can see things, we'll use our RCS units to really control and try to do it by eye. That's kind of the hardest part when you're a good distance away and you're trying to fix your orbit by eye. It's very difficult. This is a very simple orbit just because we're heading straight at 270, and we're hitting near the debris field. So we'll go ahead and slow this down. Actually, we're at apoapsis as well. And we'll start enlarging our orbit. Alright, larger orbit, and we'll just slightly get this thing up towards, whoa, there we go. Paraapsis, let's see, your apoapsis says that. Well, okay, that's fine. It just spun around a little sooner than I was expecting, or quicker. There we go, 171, so it's still going to be inside, but that's going to get a lot closer. I think we're at just under 175, yeah. Alright, this is sort of a rough tutorial, by the way. This isn't like a full-on normal tutorial where I'm, have everything perfectly orchestrated. This is the best way I can find so far. I always try to make things super easy as much as possible. I don't want it to be like, well, if you do this math function and this math function, you do this mathematical equation and solve for y, then you'll be able to do it easy. You just, okay, a 14-second burn at this exact moment, this exact direction, but try to make things super easy. That's what I tried doing with the moon lander. I was trying to see if I could see anything yet. No, we're not close enough. And so I hope, when we get to the apoapsis, where's the apoapsis at? Oh, I missed it. Yeah, we're starting to get really close to it. Actually, we're getting close to that one. I should have burned at the apoapsis right there. We're just flying around a little faster than I mean to. It should be... There it is. Alright, so it's about 20 kilometers away. I don't know the best way to do this right now. I'm not very good at this yet. Like, I've done several rendezvous, but because I know I can see that the paraapsis, I'm going to start flying around it. So I think what I might do is go ahead and get rid of this here. Goodbye there. Turn my R. Scooch forward there. Okay, there we go. Get away from that. I think... Okay, so there's one in front of me and one right here. And so, let's see here. Which way am I traveling? I think I'm traveling this way. And so... which one is it? It's hard to see. Can't look over my head. They fixed a bug in the game, and now you can't look over your head. Used to be able to like flip yourself around. You still can't. I know it's around here somewhere. Okay. So what I'm going to do, turn my SAS, my RCS off, point myself forward, lock myself in there for just real quick. Alright. And you can see I'm using, oops, don't turn that one on. Okay, there we go. There we go. Using my nav ball to orient myself. I'm orienting myself, straight up and down. There we go. And then we're just going to move our orbit up. Oops, actually up. And so that's what I'm going to try to do. I don't know actually what that does to the way my orbit looks. Oh, look at that. It turns my periapsis right there. So I'm actually moving away. That's interesting. I'm actually transferring or moving up. Like I said, I'm still figuring this out. I'm getting better at it, but alright. Yeah, we've moved way ahead of that. So if I slow down, that's actually going to make things worse. Believe it or not, one of the best things I think I can do right now is actually speed up, which doesn't make any sense. When it's I can't even see it now. Okay, so I'm actually going to try to get my apoapsis just a bit higher than it is now. So I need to go H. I didn't turn my RCS on. There we go. There we go. So we're actually going to go a little bit out. There we go. So hopefully this will help us out. We'll pass the ship and then it'll pass us, hopefully. I might just go just a touch more. Alright. Let's see. So we should zoom ahead right here, and then when our lines cross, it should zoom ahead of us because we're flying way past it. Okay, now it should be coming up on us. Like I said, when you're outside of, and when we get to the apoapsis, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, because it's still behind us, I'm going to bring that paraapsis in, myself up, and then I'm actually upside down. The blue should be on top, but anyways, I'm going to bring that paraapsis in. I need to go, let's see, I'm facing backwards, so I need a reverse burn, is that right? Turn the RCS on. Yeah, that's right, okay. Bring it all the way out to where I want it to be. 71, 72, 73, 74. That's about right. So that's about even. And so, oops. That off. Hopefully this ship will catch back up to us again. So we're actually running slower, we're outside, but we're just barely outside, so it should catch up to us pretty nice. And then we should be able to fix the orbit. Oops. Can we see it yet? I think we can see it. Where it should be behind us. Oh, it's actually coming up real fast on us. Okay. Alright, so when we get up to the paraapsis here, excuse me, what we're going to do is we're going to fix our apoapsis so that it's even. And then from there we can fix the orbit, and we can maneuver by eyesight. This would be much more difficult if I didn't quite know the degrees and I had to do kind of like a weird transfer orbit. Much worse. Let's see here, which one? Okay, I am in front of it. Okay, so I need to actually slow down. And oh no, fingers on the right key. And then I need to go R on, and then I need to go backward. And I get this bound to 175, just under. This is where the RCS units come in real handy because they're so subtle. And you can see we've got a pretty round orbit. We're fairly close to each other. I'm still outside, my orbit's still outside right here, so it should catch up to us. And I gotta figure out which one it is. Okay, so that's it right there. Okay, so we're doing pretty good. Now what I'm gonna do is go ahead and let it catch up to me just a little bit, because we're still outside of it, so it will still catch up to us just a tiny bit. And we should be able to see the numbers coming down. Yeah. Like I said, as long as we're outside of its orbit, it'll get closer to us, and we're just barely outside the orbit, so it's moving towards us very slowly. And in fact, is this it right here, or is this it? Because sometimes you see it fly over here and you have to adjust your orbit. This used to translate into adjust it. Okay, so that is the ship, and we're actually really dead on with it, which is nice. That makes things quite a bit. If it had been this piece right here, I would have to translate over to there and try to kind of match it. What this piece is going to do is it's going to wobble back and forth like this, I think. And so I would have to kind of wobble with it and get myself into that kind of rhythm in the orbit. But this one is doing pretty good. And so we'll actually let this one catch up to us. And you can see in game time this has taken a few hours. But you know, when the tiniest amount of speed makes for a huge difference between just, you know, something flying by you and then you have to start all over again, or you know, just it eking up on you, and you can adjust and fix yourself and get matched up to it. You know, there's no big deal about, yeah, you can see it here, the debris, you know, it moves up and then it moves down. Yeah, and we'd have to fix ourselves to that. We'd have to copy that orbit. But compared to us, I mean, it's doing a normal orbit, but compared to us, its orbit looks funny. But anyways, we'll go back. We can see Revenge here is coming up, and so actually we'll slow ourselves down. Now you can see it's wobbling back and forth. Turn the RCS, turn the SAS off. I'm actually going to, I do want to point towards it. I'm going to point towards it. But we're upside down. I want to orientate myself so I'm not having cross controls. Oops, no. Come on now. The ship is a little squirrely. I'm going to turn on precision controls right now by pressing caps lock. Alright, so there's Revenge over there. Turn our RCS on, and we're going to actually scooch over there. So I'm actually turning precision controls off right now. You can see it getting closer to us. We have to watch those numbers. It's over there, and it's actually moving. Looks like we're doing pretty good. We're gonna have to slow down in a second, and then kind of fix ourselves, match ourselves to the orbit. We're kind of slow down, speed up, slow down, speed up a little bit, kind of getting ourselves into that orbit. But this number right here is very important. Watch this number after it's, you know, getting within a kilometer or so. If it's flying at you so fast you can't, you know, control it. You know just the numbers are flying down. Right now they're doing really great. Like I said, just totally be patient. Don't overdo it. But if they're flying at you, you're gonna have to fix it. You're gonna have to, you know, go with it a lot more. But you can see here, like you know, it's just a speck here, and you think, okay, it's just, you know, just a little tiny speck, but it'll come up on you real fast and run over you. So you gotta watch that. Turn the RCS off and the SAS off. Bring that back up. Level. So you can see here it's moving over. I'm gonna turn my RCS on again, and we're just kind of. I know it's below us a bit, and so we're just kind of match with it. So we're going to change our orbit a little bit. Try to keep it kind of in the middle. It's going to wobble back and forth, but we're just going to keep ourselves nice and even with it. And this is one of those things where you're just kind of like, don't screw up, don't screw up, don't screw up, and you just, you know, relax and just enjoy it. Because if you bump into it, you just try again. No big deal. All right. So you can see here we're trying to just kind of keep it even. It's coming closer. no big deal. Now I could slow down. I could hit my reverse thrusters, and it could come closer to me faster. Of course, when it gets close to me, I'd have to match speeds. Once I've matched speeds, I've pretty much matched orbit, more or less. I mean, you're always going to be just a little bit off, but not a big deal. But we're just going to be nice and patient here, and not worry about it. We're going to use this time to match our left and right trajectories. Get our orbit just perfectly. In fact, if you look at the map now, I assume that it's going to be very, very close. Yeah, it's almost like it doesn't exist. Now, there's revenge. There's a bit of revenge debris. And here's all the untitled spaceship debris. And so this debris is just in a permanent belt right here. So if you ever come through this area right here, you're liable to die a lot. This little speck here, remember, look at this number here. Don't worry about, the size of this pixel, because it's going to change. You can see it's actually rotating, it looks like. Don't worry about it. Like I said, be totally patient. Be patient. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and cut the video for a little bit here until it gets a bit closer. Alright, we're a little bit closer. I actually totally forgot about the warp feature. I've been too relaxed. But like I said, the warp feature works great. Part of the reason why I'm actually recording this is because I'm actually recording a bug, which is that you can see it's kind of bouncing around all over the place when I use the warp. And its location is bouncing around too, so like you warp up. But anyways. Not actually sure. It actually says it's getting farther away from me, which doesn't seem, let's see here, is it in front of me? No, it's not. I'm actually outside of it, so actually what I need to do is I need to go like this. I'm going to start blasting toward it just a bit. One issue that I do have as it flies at me is I'm actually pointing the wrong direction. There we go. RCS on. Just matching. Getting closer to it. It's getting larger. Bouncing around in the game. That's pretty funny. One thing that I don't like is that the range disappears after a certain point and you have to eyeball things. I'd like to have that, as I'm closing in on it, it would be nice to have that. See, now I don't know if I'm closing in on it or how fast I'm closing on it now. So I can just say, okay, it's getting bigger. I do know that much. If I zoom in, I can probably see it a little better. Alright. Sometimes warp gets you in trouble too, so that's part of the reason why I don't use it a lot. Okay, now it's about to crash into me, so I'm going to reverse. Alright. See, I can't tell when at the point when it, got too far from me, or I started, reversing too much. I go forward, oops, forward. Try to balance things out. But anyways, from here it's just, a simple matter of just getting it closed in and let me come down a bit. And then, just bumping it right in there. Bonk. So, there we go. Making it spin out of control. Alright. Oops, this way. But anyway, so there's a nice overview, a quick how-to on, some of the basic mechanics of it. There's no real other way of doing it than just eyeballing it, which isn't too bad. The biggest thing to remember is when you're trying to catch up to something, of course, be patient as always. If you want to catch up to something, be on the inside. If you want something to catch up to you, be on the outside of it. Think of it like a racetrack. You want that inside corner. Same thing. The inside corner, the inside track is the faster way. Anyways, as I find more interesting things about this game, the newest version, bugs and things like that, I'll continue to post videos. In the future, I'd like to do a much cleaner, better version of this tutorial. and find a really good surefire way, easy way of doing this. It's not too hard. A lot of people have done it already. It's super simple, but I like a super, beginner-friendly way of doing this, because in the future I think it's going to be a very cool, very fun, very interesting thing to do. But anyways, thanks for watching as always. Video's over. What can I do now? I know. Let's smash into that. Yeah. Sorry guys, we're gonna kill you. Smash, 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 smash. Oh, I missed! Oh, I got it. Yes. Oh, you're not making it home now, guys. Where'd all that bits go? Oh, that's a debris field. That is a debris field. Everybody lose. Wait, did you lose your RCS units? Which way? Ah. No, not you. Hey, you're actually gonna collapse this time. No, you're not. Nope. 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 No. No. Nope. No. Oh, is this the one? Is this the one? Yeah. Yeah, you don't work anymore. You guys are stranded too. Sorry, guys.